All living organisms have ability to reproduce. And the reproductive systems in both men and women are controlled in many ways by our endocrine system. Our reproductive organs themselves produce hormones that can influence the rest of the body. So, our focus here will be the hormones that control reproduction. Here, you can see the hypothalamus, the part of brain that maintains homeostasis. Now, hypothalamus extends to form a small pea-sized gland, known as pituitary gland. If we zoom into this pea-sized gland, you can see it is divided into two parts: the anterior pituitary and posterior pituitary. The anterior lobe of the pituitary gland is linked to the hypothalamus by the hypothalamic epiphyseal portal system. Thus, blood from the hypothalamus that contains high concentrations of hypothalamic hormones is delivered directly to the anterior pituitary. Now, the hormones released from the anterior pituitary are growth hormone, prolactin, thyroid-stimulating hormone or TSH, luteinizing hormone or LH for short, follicle-stimulating hormone or FSH, and adrenocorticotropic hormone or ACTH, while posterior pituitary releases oxytocin and antidiuretic hormone, abbreviated as ADH. However, our focus here are the hormones controlling reproduction. So, for us, anterior pituitary is important here, because it releases luteinizing hormone and follicle-stimulating hormone, the two related to reproduction that we will be discussing here. Now, to begin with, let's zoom into hypothalamus. There are small-bodied neurons in the arcuate nucleus and preoptic area of the hypothalamus. The parts that are highlighted here, what they do is that they secrete a decapeptide hormone called gonadotropin-releasing hormone, or GnRH, into the extracellular space, from where it is carried to the anterior pituitary through the long portal veins. Here, it stimulates the specialized cells in the anterior pituitary called gonadotrophs. Well, this release of GnRH is pulsatile in manner, at about 1 to 3 hours interval in both males and females. Now, this pulsatile manner is really important. Can you guess why? Well, it is necessary for the normal reproductive function. Because if the gonadotrophs are continuously being exposed to this hormone, it leads to a rapid desensitization of the gonadotrophs. And what these gonadotrophs do is that they release gonadotropins. So, desensitization of the gonadotrophs will cause a reduction in the release of gonadotropins secreted by these cells. What if GnRH is not released? Well, the failure of GnRH release is one cause of infertility. Now let's see how these gonadotrophs work. The pituitary gonadotrophs have membrane receptors on their cell surface that have a very high affinity for gonadotropin-releasing hormone. These receptors are coupled to the G protein, G-alpha-Q, which activates phospholipase C, or PLC. This PLC, acts on membrane phosphoinositides, which leads to the formation of inositol 1,4,5-triphosphate, abbreviated as IP3, and diacylglycerol, or DAG. Liberation of IP3 triggers calcium release from internal stores, while DAG stimulates protein kinase C, or PKC for short. Now, PKC phosphorylates targets that indirectly stimulate gene transcription. The ultimate result of all this is the synthesis, dimerization, glycosylation of gonadotropins in the secretory pathway, regulated by the rhythm of gonadotropin-releasing hormone. Now, what does this calcium do? Is that, when released from internal stores, it activates calcium channels, leading to sustained increase in intracellular calcium. This increase then triggers exocytosis and release of gonadotropin. Well, the gonadotropins include two glycoprotein hormones, luteinizing hormone and follicle-stimulating hormone. The word gonadotropins, you can guess from the name, is derived from two words, gonads and tropins. Gonads means reproductive organs, that are testes in males, and ovaries in females, and suffix tropins shows the stimulating effect. So, gonadotropins are the hormones that stimulate gonads to release other hormones. They stimulate the testes to secrete testosterone, and ovaries to release estrogen and progesterone. We will see their individual effects in detail in the next section of the video.
Explore our extensive library of over 1,800 video lectures to learn about a wide range of topics. Only on sqadia.com.